Welcome to the Edventure Show. So glad you could join us. Have you ever wanted to make an impact or be a catalyst for change? Perhaps start your own venture or get stuck in with making a difference locally? Edventure is on a mission to activate Frome and other market towns like it to be greener, healthier, socially conscious and positively enterprising. We provide community enterprise programs that support you in making your ideas real. On the Edventure Show, we discuss ideas around change making, show you all the ways you can get stuck in and hands-on with us, Green and Healthy Frome and our Future Shed offering. Today, we're delighted to be joined by Jem from Frome Families for the Future, a family-friendly group of concerned individuals committed to securing a better future for our children. We'll be talking about the River Vision project with its mission to make Frome River a place everyone can easily enjoy. Thank you, Jem, for joining us on the Edventure Show today. So just for a little bit of context, through our Future Shed offering at Edventure, we host various community networks and help to incubate or to give momentum to projects. One of the groups that Future Shed is currently facilitating is Frome Families for the Future. So, Jem, welcome to the show.
Hello.
Can you please tell us a little about what Frome Families for the Future is? What are the goals of the group?
Yep, so basically we are a group mainly of parents and caregivers, and we just want to make the world a better place for our little ones, really. So through this we run local activities and events and protests and anything that may have some environmental impact, really. So yeah, we try and give young people a voice as well. So we'll try and get involved with protests and organise them locally and attend national ones. We've been to protests in London, in Bath, organised Mothers Rebellion, sit down, a peaceful protest outside the library. And within that, we really try and make it a family-friendly space as well. So we'll bring the children along. And just try and get them involved and let them know exactly what the cause is and ways that they can have a voice within that as well, and encourage them to have their say and to bring their words and their thoughts to it. So okay. Yeah, we do events and to try and get the wider local community involved as well, really.
I think I've given you a supportive toot as you were outside Frome Town Council, where we are at the moment, one time with a load of you.
Yeah, we were just standing there doing our bit for to try and stop Rosebank.
Yeah. And can you tell us a little bit about your connection to Edventure?
Yeah. So actually, we're not in residency at the moment this year with Edventure, but last year we ran a residency project. So this was through Green and Healthy Frome. So we got a pot of money, essentially, to run a project. So we decided, a lot of folk in Frome Families have passion for the water and for the river, and they really wanted to, focus on a project. So we got some money through, the Green and Healthy project, Green and Healthy Frome project, and that enabled us to run with this project and allow some time to spend on the project. Essentially.
And it's always such a joy when you all come as a posse and there's kids and mums and making of stuff. I remember a huge otter that emerged from Edventure with your creativity for the lantern parade.
Yeah.
That was just incredible.
Yeah, she's currently sat. So for those that don't know, we created an 11-foot otter.
11 foot.
With the guys from Light the Night, who ran the parade last year, and we paraded with her in the town, and then she sat at the Frome Town Hall in the building for a little while. Then she went to the Victoria Park Cafe, and now she's at Avanti School, and so she's going on tour, and the aim is that she's just kind of a symbolism for the river, really. She's telling people that she's still here.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
Really exciting. And can you explain why you need to do what you need to do with the river? What's the problem?
So I'll explain a little bit about the River Vision project and the kind of goals of that project, I guess, and that hopefully will explain why we chose to do that. So the River Vision project was born out of the passion from from the people in the group that really wanted bathing status for Frome, for the River Frome, so we could, in theory, have a nice healthy river to get our kids down into. We could build memories for them. We could get in, have a splash, have a paddle, swim where it's deep enough. But in reality, that wasn't a tangible project to do within a year. After lots of research, we've realised that actually our river it's not going to have bathing status. It's not clean enough. It's not likely to be anytime soon. So then we looked at, okay, what can we do that's a little bit more tangible but still focus on a project that brings awareness for the river? So we decided improved accessibility to the river, so potentially people could get in and have a paddle if they wished to. So we worked with Wessex Water, with Friends of the River Frome, the Trouts Trust. We've worked with lots of different stakeholders to look at the health of the river, but also about what point of the river may be the safest to encourage people in for a paddle if they wanted to get in. And through that research, we've basically found out, it's not a healthy river. It has got a lot of bacteria in there from different different ways it's getting in there.
That was the technical word about.
Very technical. Yeah. And then basically we've thought about, okay, so how can we improve access to the river? How can we get people closer and spending better quality time down at the river without necessarily getting in? So after doing lots of work, and talking to the community as well, we've done a lot of community engagement. We've ran a community survey, and we've discovered that actually at the far end of Rodham Meadow, so towards the Asda end on the corner of the river, where is currently quite a dog slide, so quite an eroded bank down there because of dogs going in and out, which in itself is actually really bad for the river. All of the soil being eroded into the river is really bad. But we looked at that point is actually the best point to get people closer to the river. So now what we're looking at is building a platform there. So in the bank of the river, when we've fundraised, there'll be a nice platform that people can get down on there, be closer, because when you actually take a further step off of the meadow onto the bank, you actually are more immersed with the river and with nature. So the idea is that we'll get people down onto a nice platform, and we may build some steps down into the river as well. And that's more as not that we want to encourage dogs into the river, because that again can be a problem in itself. If they've got flea or tick treatment, that can cause chemical problems in the river. But we may build some steps down to avoid further erosion, because if people are taking their dogs in there, they're going in regardless. So we may build some steps just to avoid the further erosion. And then again, if people want to get in and have a paddle, if they're doing it safely, they're able to. But Frome Town Council have agreed to build a path from the main path to this new platform area, and that would allow wheelchair users and even people with pushchairs, myself, it's really difficult to get down to this place and get off of the main path if you've got wheels and it's a bit boggy. So hopefully maybe next year we'll have a nice path down to this point, maybe a platform, and that just encourages people to spend more time safely down at the river and be more immersed with nature, especially if you're a wheelchair user, you don't really get that opportunity very much to get off the beaten track a little bit.
It's been an incredible project to witness, because a lot of people want to improve their rivers. A lot of people want better access. It's something that, is especially with the rise in wild swimming and things, rivers are really in the headlines at the moment, and lots of people campaigning. But you guys, in the period, a very short amount of time, have managed to do some incredible events. I've seen amazing events that you've arranged with really great attendance. You've engaged the community in such an incredible way, and you've got a tangible result that looks like it's going to bloom and happen, which is incredibly exciting. You know, do you feel pride? Do you feel kind of excited? Do you ever give yourself a pat on the back?
I am proud, and I've been working very closely with Lizzie, we've coordinated this project together. She couldn't be here today, but we are really proud because we've spoke to a lot of people in Frome. We've engaged a lot of people in Frome, and people in Frome are telling us they care about the river. Nobody we've spoke to has said, well, why are you doing this? Why are you getting people to think about the river? You know, everybody cares about it. It's in their heart. People who have lived here forever, or people who have lived here for a year, like the river really captures, it captivates your heart. Everyone's got memories of spending time down the river, and we want the same for our children. We don't want the memories that they have in 20 years time to be, oh, I was told never to go in the river, I was told I wasn't allowed in the river because I get poorly. We don't want those to be the memories. We want them to, and people, you know, they will want to protect what they love, like it's a genuine fact, like people protect what they love. So we want people to spend more time down the river, because it is easy as well in Frome to walk past the river, you know, and take it for granted and just think, oh yeah, that's the river that flows through the town, but I don't really need to do anything about it.
Well, it's also quite easy to be resigned to, what can I do? You know, that's the river. I see it the whole time. Rivers are dirty now, aren't they? And wouldn't it be lovely if you could swim in it? But that you couldn't do since the Middle Ages. And you know, modern farming means I just won't ever be able to swim in it. And so to have a campaign that really connects everybody's passion for it, the fact that it is such a symbol of Frome, such a unifying thing kind of going through the town. Absolutely.
And I think we've got more plans, like as well as building hopefully fundraising and building a platform, which would be an amazing achievement. If Lizzie was here today with her map of Frome and the river, she'll tell you that it's achievable to get a clean river in Frome, like the catchment area. If the farmers, it's actually not a huge space. So if the landowners, the water treatment companies, you know, if they all genuinely cleaned up their act, then our rivers could be a thriving, healthy, nice waterway to spend time at and in. It's achievable, not easy, but I think, you know, in a 10-year window, potentially if everyone worked together and this was an actual project, if there was money given to the Environment Agency, you know, there's lots of elements to it, but it's
part of the thing
achievable.
is just having a vocal enough local community that actually cares about it and prioritises it. And you did lots of work measuring it as well, didn't you? All those sensors, all of those samples that were taken really showed that there's an active community that's going to keep on top of it, that's going to pay attention. Yeah,
so the Friends of the River Frome are doing an amazing job, and I don't think people see or hear a lot about what they do. I think a lot of their work goes kind of under the radar, but they're doing a lot of an amazing work. And I think what we've done with our river project is actually over the last year is just kind of brought it more.
You've been the cheerleaders, haven't you? You've been the positive vibes that have allowed it to sing out a bit more.
Yeah, I think we're just giving it a voice again. And you'll hear it again, but in a bit. But we did, one of my favourite pieces of engagement that we've done over the year is actually writing a song with the community.
Well, I think that is a cue, isn't it? With your DJ expertise, you have wonderfully queued us up. James, are you ready? I believe we have a taster.
A taster, yeah.
Of a bit of this track that was written.
Here's a little taster for you.
Here I go.
Oh, wow.
That was the song.
How
So what's
much
that song
fun
called
was that?
again, Jem?
So it's called I Am the River, and we've named the band The Ripple Effect because
Oh, I like that. That's good.
genuinely the work and the conversations we've been having and the work we've been doing has really been having a ripple effect. So so that song was actually written, so we invited anyone from the community to come and do 4 workshops with us. So we held these workshops down at Rossetti Care Home. They very generously, that word,
that's right.
opened up their space to us, and we held 4 workshops where we wrote that song together. So we had 5-year-olds in the room and the residents, up to 100, giving us their
Definitely
memories.
feel the Families for Frome vibe in there, don't you?
So that performance was actually done at the Climate Film Festival when we were practicing for a performance in the Cheese and Grain, and we had one of the residents join us there, and we have 5-year-olds, and it was written so. Heather, who facilitated the whole thing, she got us to think about our memories of the river. She got us to walk down by the river, listen to the sounds, and really, really think about what the river would say as well, if the river could kind of speak. So we wanted the song to raise some awareness, but actually have an uplifting message as well. We didn't want it to be doom and gloom, and actually it was incredible, and we have been invited to sing the song in a couple of weeks at the Farley Hungerford AGM, a swimming club AGM. So we're going to go and perform it there, and we're going to record it hopefully in the recording studio above Cheese and Grain. They're giving us some free hours to record it, and then we're taking it to Christmas #1 next year.
Wonderful. Finally beat Mariah Carey.
Well,
That's the plan.
Worth connecting to Fergal Sharkey. Do you remember Fergal Sharkey?
Yeah,
Because he's a big river campaigner and musician, so really a good one to
We'll
to
get it
send
on
to him.
everyone's ears, I think.
Oh, wonderful! That was fantastic. But seriously, what I think it's really so clever. All your different engagement strategies. So you haven't just relied on we'll just hit Instagram really hard and tell everybody and say how horrible the river is and they should really support us. You've been uplifting. You've been positive. You've used creative techniques from the lantern parade to talking to so many different people, really listening to so many different people. Really covering all these different ways of engaging, haven't you?
Yeah, so we really wanted to, as well, Lizzie is a big advocate for inclusion and getting voices from everybody. So she's done a hell of a lot of work of, working with people from all over the town and getting them to include River into their projects as well. So, we've tried to keep it uplifting and not focus on the doom and gloom because it's too easy to do that and it's not really useful. So we've been getting people to think about their dreams of the river. So we've worked with an artist and she's actually been doing live illustrations whilst we've been talking to the public at market events and other events. And she's been drawing what people want to do down by the river. A lot of it, swimming came out a lot. Everybody wants to get in and swim. We learned through that process, we learned that bees drink from the river. The local honey guy told us that their bees drink down by the river. And we saw people what they want to do. And I think when you kind of have those conversations with people, it really gets them thinking, if the river was nice and healthy, I could do this, and I wouldn't think twice about getting in. We had a lot of conversations with people that said, I wouldn't want to get in the river. I wouldn't put my child in the river. We had a lot of positive conversations as well. And then that leads on to conversations about, okay, well, what can you do in the home as well? Like that could help. So on our website, Frome Families for the Future.org, co.uk. But we've got a page on our website that's got tips in the home, and it basically tells you what you can do in the home. So even just buying a water butt is really effective to stopping lots of chemicals running off, or extra rain, running off down the drains. You're capturing it and then you're reusing it. It's a really effective way of helping the river. So if every household in Frome had a water butt, that would be really beneficial. Because then, the treatment plants and the rivers just aren't overwhelmed by the amount of water. There's lots of things you can do in your home. Medicines, if you've got, and this is linked to the medical centre. They've got projects going on to try and get people to avoid putting old, unused medicines down the toilet. So you can take them back to the medical practice and then you can donate them back and they'll dispose of them appropriately. Because actually the rivers, and it's really interesting, in parts of, I think in Bristol as well, parts of the UK, they actually take samples from the river and they're using those samples to determine what's going on in that town, so they can tell what the levels of cocaine users are and stuff like this. They can tell actually what's happening in a town based on
what's being flushed down the toilet.
What's being flushed down the toilet.
Story hidden away.
It is absolutely, and which goes to show that actually not everything in our household that's being flushed down a sink or a toilet or a shower is being treated, because it's still, parts of it is still ending up in the river, which is negatively impacting the
I think it's a
wildlife.
really interesting metaphor as well for the way we think about away in so many other things, that, you know, you chuck something in the bin and then it's away and gone, but actually it's still in the world, it still needs to be processed, it still needs to go somewhere. There's not some magic fairy plant that suddenly turns it from our rubbish into loveliness. And the same with even the products you use in the shower, or the hair dyes or contraceptions or any of these things that end up in the waterways.
Yeah.
It's very easy for us to think that with a flush, it is now gone to the sewage treatment plant, which will then make everything right in the world. And then,
If only.
You know, it just really isn't. So just being able to help people, because life is so complicated, and trying to understand the complexity of what happens to the water when it leaves my house. You know, we're busy enough just renewing driving licenses and whatever else we have to do. And I think it's really wonderful that you're just raising that awareness that it's not away. Actually, it comes back. And that poor decision, or that lack of considering how you might dispose of your medication, is the thing that is contributing to you not being able to swim in the river, and just making that lovely loop in thinking that it's not just the fishes, which I might not be that bothered about the fishes, but it's also affecting me, it's affecting the kids, it's affecting how we use the river. And I think that's really wonderful that you're telling that whole story.
And I would encourage anyone at the moment, we've got on Shoe Zone, the old building of the blocked out board and shoe zone in town. We've painted the mural of Frome's water cycle on there. So I'd encourage anyone to get down in town and have a proper look at it. It's also on our website and on our social media channels. But that is trying to tell the story of where our water's coming from, and how the pollution is getting to the river, like what is influencing the pollution in the river, and then it's coming back into our tap as well. You know, whatever. So it's really interesting diagram, and Lizzie done a lot of research into, you know, making sure it's all factual. But I can tell you that something on there. Where is it? Oh, I can't see it. But so our town uses 7 million litres of water every single day.
Every single day. Wow.
Every single day. And the water is coming from, it's extracted out of aquifers, and then that's where the water's coming from. But actually, what's going down our taps, and also agricultural waste and the water treatment plants, it's all ending up in rivers at some point and not necessarily being treated.
Is that through
unlikely and
potential negligence of water treatment companies?
Well, the design. So it's the design of the pipes and how it's very historic. So how the houses were built around the river historically, and all the pipes that are underground. It's very old school. It's not sufficient for how the amount of people that live here and how we work these days. So actually, to clean up the rivers from a water treatment perspective, we need to change all the piping and everything underground, and that's quite a big.
That'd be a massive job.
It's also just the complexity of what's going into our water now. So, you know, the water company, there's lots of examples very much in the press around kind of negligence around releases and sewage treatment, and how they're handling just the basic solid matter that's coming through them. And they're challenged by that. They haven't even begun to approach hormones in the water, or complex chemicals, or microplastics, or things that are microscopic, that we're only really appreciating how they impact life and how much is dissolved in the water that they don't even think about at the moment. They're just trying to deal with the big stuff, and they're struggling with that. So this is the other thing. We just expect, they're clever scientist type people, aren't they? That they're obviously looking at everything in the water and making sure that, beautiful Evian flows out the other end. No, they're removing the solid stuff. They're taking out some of the chemicals. They're kind of letting things settle. And refeeding the aquifers and helping this kind of ancestral store of ancient water that we draw from, that is slowly filled, I think, from runoff from the Mendips, from all kinds of ways that these aquifers are filled. But what we're putting into the water is changing and getting more complicated quicker than we can adapt to solve it. And we still haven't solved problems, like you say, from pipes 100 years ago.
Absolutely.
So there's a massive problem.
Yeah. And if you walk down by the river after a rainy day, when there's lots of, heavy rain, walk down by the river and you just notice wet wipes and tissue hung up in all of the bushes, like the vegetation along the river.
It's really sad
and
to see that.
There is so much in the river, chemicals, but that's wet wipes and tissue is stuff that you think would be filtered out and treated through the treatment plants. But after heavy downpours, there's no way they can cope with it. It's just, there's too many people, they're not set up to deal with the
surprised
simple
by
stuff.
what people do think flushes away. I remember going to a sewage treatment plant and the amount of cotton buds they had to pull out. Who thinks that a plastic cotton bud is okay to flush down the toilet?
And goldfish. This is my favourite one.
Goldfish, poor things.
Wessex water guy
goldfish funeral.
told me there are a lot of goldfish down in the sewers because, when you think they're dead and the swim bladder, basically they get a swim bladder infection, they turn upside down. You think they're dead, flush them down the toilet. And then when they become healthy again, they actually turn up the right way and they're down in the sewer growing to a healthy size.
I preferred goldfish than alligators, which the rumours in New York was an alligator in the sewers.
This project wouldn't have happened without, one, the funding, but also the support from the Green and Healthy project. So Sue Palmer in particular, she heads up Future Shed, and she has been, just such a shining star in our project, really. And I think just having that support from somebody who has lots of real life experience in engagement and campaigns has really helped kind of direct our project to some extent. And also, as being a residency for Green and Healthy, we've been doing it alongside other community groups. So Everyone Needs Pockets have been running a project, and Frome Food Network and other community groups. It's been amazing to come together as a group with them at different times and share our experience of what is working, what isn't working, but also just to have each other's support and to know you're not in this alone. And that, because although we had some funding to put into our time on this project, a lot of it's still done in our own, voluntary hours. And it's really nice just to speak to other people who are experiencing the same. We're all fighting for the same thing. We all want a nice, healthy planet. We all want this planet to be a better place. So it's just really nice to have that support, really.
And for Edventure, it's really lovely to hear that the value of that convening role of just having a central place where people can come together. They can have support from somebody with Sue's amazing skills in just that critical friend to talk through ideas, somebody who's just wants your success, but also and it has experience to share, and then some of the other trainings we were able to offer, and you can connect to other people and share, and just it can feel quite lonely, I think, when you're doing these things with others. You may well have done exactly the same independently, but I think the journey has been a bit easier, a bit friendlier, and possibly a little bit more fun by having that support.
Definitely. And, I'd recommend, if anyone's got the opportunity to do something similar, to create their own project, getting support from Edventure or a different organisation really helps, rather than doing it alone. You need to know people have got your back. You need to know that you're all fighting for the same cause, because it can be very demoralising if you just think you're the only one out there, but actually there's a lot of people going through what you're going through.
And I think the call for new residencies is going to go out fairly soon, so that'll be exciting to see, and maybe you can help mentor and advise some of them and share some of your learning.
Love to.
Thank you so much for coming in to speak to us today and coming on the Adventure Show, Jem.
Thank you for having us.
If people would like to find out more, keep up to date with the Frome Families project and the River Vision project, where can they go?
So the best place to go would be on our website, so you can sign up to our newsletter, which isn't that often, so you won't get bombarded, but it's fromefamiliesforthefuture.co.uk, and also Instagram and Facebook, we post on there occasionally.
Great.
Which is at Frome Families for the Future.
Yes, yeah.
Yes, it's Frome_families_ etc. for the future.
Yeah. And can I just say that in spring, I think, by next year, we'll be starting to fundraise for the platform that we do down in Rodham Meadow. So again, we'll send out a newsletter and put it on our socials. But
Great.
It would be great if anybody's got any fundraising experience out there, can set up crowdfunders or anything like that. Please do get in touch, because we'd love extra help. Any help we can get would be brilliant.
Do you have an email address people can reach you at?
Yes.
Is it on the website?
Yes.
Look at the website and there'll be an email over there. Of course, Edventure will reshare about your project as well. So
And we will continue to
keep up date
support, champion, and celebrate the wonderful work you're doing. And I'm
Thank
sure
you.
Edventure will be 100% behind the fundraising campaign when you get to it.
Yeah, thank you. And it's been an absolute pleasure talking to you guys today, but also working with you in the previous year.
Lovely.
The Adventure October newsletter came out, and we do a newsletter about once every 2 months ish, unless there's some specific timely offers coming up. And you can subscribe to that on adventurefrome.org to be up to date with the latest from Edventure. But for now, we'll just kind of touch on the topics that were written about in the newsletter. So we're sad, unfortunately, to announce that Makeshed is at the moment on pause due to funding issues that are beyond our control. We had hoped to get funding for it, but we haven't so far secured it. We're working to bring it back and secure new funding. So keep an eye on the Adventure's socials and our website, and hopefully we'll have some better news eventually.
Yeah, it's a project that was born from Adventure. It was part of a startup course that recognised the need for activities for young people in Frome, and in no way has the need gone away. In fact, I'd say the need is more now than it ever was before. We also had fantastic facilitators that led that programme. Cassie and Amala had this wonderful balance of nurturing and creativity and chattiness and bubbles, and the community that they built valued that so much. And it's just a sign of the funding environment at the moment that we wrote 3 or 4 different funding bids, as well as going to our normal education provider for funding. And we were unsuccessful each time. So that meant we were unable to pay wages to deliver Makeshed. And yeah, it's one of those heartbreaking things as a CEO, where the thing is needed, the people who deliver it are fantastic. It's a honed product that was, homegrown. We'd built it in-house. We'd developed it. It had gone on for 5 years of Makeshed. And then the funding came to the end. We'd managed to secure funding for 5 years. So each year we had to go out again and find it. And it gets harder and harder. Last year was quite a challenge, but we just about pulled it off. This year we didn't. So it's with a very heavy heart that we say at the moment, Makeshed has been put on hold until we can find the right way to bring it back. And we'll see what that is.
Thank you.
And keep you updated.
Great. Another little piece of news is the community fridge. So it's going to be returning to the Loop de Loop in the town. For those who don't know, the Loop de Loop is the colourful rainbow of sorts at the moment building by the Frome Library on the way as you walk into town. The community fridge, when it was set up, I believe it was 2016, was originally in the Loop de Loop. But then, due to some building issues, it was moved to behind the town hall, which is where it is currently, and it's going to soon be both at behind the town hall in the red brick building, and also at the Loop de Loop, so people can enjoy some free fridge use. The mission of the community fridge is to reduce food waste within the town. So different businesses or individuals might put food in the fridge that's still perfectly good, but maybe they've got an overstock. And it's a way to share it out with the community. And it's a very popular and frequently used project.
Mention the fridge without mentioning Terry and her wonderful team of volunteers who load the fridge up 3 times a day, almost every day of the year, with surplus food from supermarkets, bakeries, shops, veg growers. At the moment, I've seen pumpkins in there and a whole range of vegetables. So it's a real Frome institution to be proud of, and we were the first community fridge in the UK. So to see it back in its original home will be a real moment of celebration when it finally returns back to Loop de Loop, and we can be in our original site. And in November, we're looking forward to a celebration of the community fridge.
Yes, keep an eye out for the official announcement of the opening date in the Loop de Loop on the Instagram at Community Fridge Frome page, or the at Edventure Frome page, where there'll be more information about when it's going to actually open its doors, and we'll have a little celebration. The next short update is we have started our Comms for Change course. So we are, is it 3 weeks in now? I think it's 3 weeks in now. So Comms for Change, just to remind those who may not know, is a new adventure course, and it's for people who want to create who want to communicate about some sort of positive change in the world. So that might be within an industry like a CIC, a community interest company, or a charity, talking about the kind of work they're doing, or it might be in a more traditional setting, but kind of branching out and talking about different ethical projects or initiatives within. So it's quite a broad range of applicable skills within this course. So we had our new group in about 3 weeks ago, and it's wonderful to see some new faces in the hub. We've got another, more faces on the wall, and they're coming in just one day a week for, I think it's around 22 weeks. I might be off the mark slightly, but around 22 weeks. And they've got industry leaders either dialing in through Zoom. So we had recently the wonderful Solitaire Townsend, who came in.
My old boss from Futera, who are a leading sustainability communications agency in London, New York, and Sweden. And Solly gave us a load of time via Zoom, but a really intimate presentation. And the thing that Solly is famous for now is solutionists. So she really talked to us about where we are on the change graph and reasons to be positive, which, given for us that work in behaviour change and community engagement and climate change, it can often feel quite a grueling journey. So to have a good hour with Solly saying reasons to be cheerful was a lovely experience. And I think the group really enjoyed it. I met a couple of the group at the canteen over the weekend who said that they'd really enjoyed Solly's presentation.
Wonderful. We've only got a few minutes left, but I want to ask you, Doug, were you were at the canteen?
I was.
How was it?
It was unbelievable. It was fantastic. Again, Sue Palmer knocking it out of the park with Frome Food Network's Hugh. We had volunteers, Jess, ex of the Share Shop. The food was delicious. The company was gorgeous. The decorations were magnificent. I think most people paid full price so that they were able to support those that couldn't in enjoying the meal, and they ran out of food. So it was everything it needed to be, and great signs for future ones. And hopefully, with the community support carrying on, this will be another idea that manages to grow and become a real thing as we go forwards.
It's a wonderful community project. Just so everyone is on the same page, it is a pay what you can community restaurant, and it's from the Frome Food Network, which is in residence at Future Shed, which is a green and healthy Frome and adventure project. So they had the pop-up on Friday the 25th of October, 5 to 8 p.m. at Trinity Church Hall in Frome, and the next one will be Friday the 15th of November. So there is another one coming, and it will be exactly the same. No pop-up, no reservation needed. Sorry, I believe it will be in the same location. And do come along. It's a wonderful community. It's about bringing people together around some just amazing high-quality food.
Mainly locally produced food. Really simple, accessible menu, and you go to the counter, you pay what you can, whether that's just enough to cover the cost, a little bit more so you can support somebody else, or a little bit less because that's what your funds allow. But it's a real chance for the whole community to come. You collect your plate of food and you sit down next to complete strangers. And I met some wonderful people when I was there, and really enjoyed myself. And yeah, hope it continues.
Wonderful. We're going to have to wrap it there because we are coming to the end of the show. Thank you for tuning in to the Edventure Show.